You are welcome back to my channel. Let us quickly look at the resignation of the Minister of Defense. As you have it, he has thrown in the trowel and his sight hurt. That is on head ground. The question is, whatever reason he gives is not the issue. At this point, we need somebody who has the competence, expertise to occupy that office. That's why I'm calling on the president himself, who had the prerogative to appoint any person he deems fit. That what Nigerians are expecting is someone that had the competence, the expertise to do the job. Not just because you want to give somebody position on the basis of compensation as a politician. Because what we need currently, that position is critical in fighting the war against terrorism. How they say that his resignation is coming at the time the presidency through Daniel Bwala is telling the world that the government is now ready to name financiers of terrorism. And as we have it, Nigerians will be eager and willing, waiting to see the list. Because this is not the first time Nigerians are being agitated to see the names of those saboteurs. We understand that in the time past, even the government of Saudi Arabia, even the government of United Arab Emirates made some move when they made it clear that they have some names of terrorist sponsors. But it was surprising that a Buhari government never made any effort to either name or shame them, or even made them public for Nigerians to know who they are. But another thing is, I want to tell the government that Nigerians are still waiting to know who gave the order for the withdrawal of those military personnel that were guarding the Kebbi school before the adoption of those children. I'm very happy that the governor of Kebbi State raised this alarm, and at all levels, all stakeholders, whether at the level of the Senate, at the level of even the House of Representatives, everybody is asking the question, who gave the order? And I'm joining to ask the question to repeatedly ask, who gave the order? Because the essence of asking this question cannot be overemphasized. Because I want to believe that the person that gave the order must be one of those who are in government, who are sabotaging the effort of the government in fight against terrorism. So let us know who gave the order. Let the government do the needful by identifying the person, possibly marshalling the person, and let us see what happens from there. Because the reason is simple. If there's no consequence for wrongdoing, people will be emboldened to do more. That's why we are asking who gave the order. Let the person be arrested and prosecuted. Because we have heard so many stories about bandits, terrorists being in government, because even in the time of Jonathan was emphatic that there are some bandits, terrorist sympathizers who are in his government. So if you have not got to this level, where a governor of a state, who is the governor and the chief security officer of the state, an order will be given for military personnel guarding a school that is vulnerable to attack, the military personnel will be withdrawn without the consent of the governor, to the point that the governor is now frustrated and start asking that an order was given 30 minutes before the abduction. We want to ask the government consistently, give us the name of the person that gave the order. We want to know, because it's part of effort to addressing this. Because personally, I want to see an end to this banditry. I'm a patriotic Nigerian who support every genuine effort of Nigerian government to end this issue of banditry, to end this issue of senseless killing of Nigerians. Because I want to say that this spilling of blood is getting out of hand. If you want to even travel, the first thing you do, you start calling people to put in prayer, to join in prayer. I must say it's unacceptable that the government will do the needful. Because as far as I'm concerned, to do the needful is to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. Because the constitution is very clear about what shall constitute the primary purpose of governance. that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. Specifically, that is section 14, subsection 2B of 1999 Constitution as amended. More so, as the president, the governors, the local government chairman, in their respective capacities, have sworn to an oath to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. I want to say that this they must do without the excuse. That is why I'm particularly happy with this current development, talking about the idea of state police that have come to the front burner, a situation where the president himself have asked the National Assembly to amend regular sessions of the Constitution to enable that happen. And apart from that, we have seen state governors rising to say we are in support of state police, all the 36 state governors. Because the last time, the Southern Governor Forum met in Ogun State, they endorsed state police. We are seeing the Northern Governor Forum meeting in Kaduna State, rising and endorsing state police. I must say it's a welcome development. However, we understand that it takes process. And currently, there's a constitutional review going on where even state police is captured. So that is where I'm now calling on the 36 state houses of assembly. You understand that after the two chambers of National Assembly, joint session of National Assembly, and does a clause that deals with the state police, that it needs to go back to the state houses of assembly to have their own buy-in, their own concurrent. And according to, going by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you need to tell majority of state houses of assembly to endorse it. So what we are now looking at is, we are looking at 24, because to tell majority of 36 is 24. So we are looking at 24 state houses of assembly to endorse state police as it goes back to the state house of assembly before it can come back to the president for presidential assent. So this is now our opportunity to call on the state house of assembly, call on the governors to put pressure on their state house of assembly. Hence they in their own position have agreed that state police is the way to go. To put pressure in the state house of assembly in their states to endorse it once it comes from the National Assembly, so that it can come back to the president for presidential assent. And this will follow up to know anywhere the state or rather the state house assembly is not doing the needful, because so that we can know who is holding us back. I've been a very strong advocate that the governors should not just be going about with the name of the governors and the chief security officer of their respective states on paper alone, but rather that they should be given a level of security power to parade. And I want to believe that this state police has come to give them that leverage, has come to give them that power to parade, and that we must make sure we follow it through to the letter, so that at the end of the day, we have that state police. Because in the time past, even when some states enacted at the open grazing laws, it was difficult to enforce, because police as an enforcement agency was not subject to the control of the state governors. So they choose and pick one law to enforce. But if we now have state police in place, we have at the open grazing laws enacted by state house of assembly, of course the governor of the state can direct the state police personnel to enforce the law. Because I say this particularly because the open grazing have been a source of conflicts that often triggers killings, massacre of Nigerians in their large numbers. Though there are so many instances where you cannot fathom what gave rise or instigates killing. But let us end the era of open grazing, because in the 21st century, you cannot be talking about open grazing. I think it has been overtaken by events. What is fashionable in the 21st century is ranching. Let everybody go and ranch his cow. That's the way to go. I want to say that it doesn't matter the opinion of Sheikh, because I think currently Sheikh is not talking much again, because he has seen that his opinion is not a popular opinion, even in the midst of his own people, because we are currently seeing some persons from the north who are telling the world that a Sheikh should be silent at this point, that his opinion do not represent any popular opinion. So that perhaps may explain the reason he's not vocal as he used to be, because we have seen a man who ought to be patriotic, who have made himself an advocate of bandits. Because as far as I'm concerned, bandits are common criminals. It doesn't matter the opinion of the Shegumi who tell us that we should not address them as criminals. There's no better way to address them. They are criminals and they should be made to face the full wrath of Nigerian sovereignty as a consequence for their action. Thank you very much. This is Abductions.